Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're viewing this. I'm just hanging out on the floor of the Timeless Dog, waiting for the daycare dogs to arrive. But I wanted to take a minute to briefly talk about something that a lot of us think our dogs have. And a lot of us tend to jump immediately to saying our dogs have separation anxiety. Well, there are actually two different things that go on with dogs. One is separation anxiety. The other is actually isolation distress. And a lot of dogs that we humans say have separation anxiety, they actually have isolation distress. So I want to talk about the two different ones before we slap labels on our dogs and run off to try all these different training methods so that you guys can make the best choice in what's right for your dog. Before I jump into this though, I would like to say I am not a separation anxiety specialist. I can certainly help with it, but there are dog trainers out there who work specifically with separation anxiety and isolation distress, and they're phenomenal. I can help, but my knowledge in this department isn't as huge as other places. So only being fair to you guys. So let's jump in real quick. Separation anxiety in a dog is related to one specific person. It can be multiple people, but for the purposes of this video, we're gonna go with it's just one person. So separation anxiety in a dog would look like, I'm going to use CJ as an example in our house. He's perfectly fine. He's normal. Well, more or less. But for him, what it would look like is, say, Neil, CJ, and I are sitting in the living room. Neil gets up. CJ's fine. He comes back. But then I leave the room. He can't follow me. He starts to whine. He starts to pace the room. He might start to lick his paws or chew on his tail, and he just gets anxious because mom left the room and he can't get to me and he doesn't know how to function without mom present. That's separation anxiety. Isolation distress would be if CJ doesn't care who leaves the room, but as long as somebody's there, he's good. But if we both left the room and he couldn't get to us, and he starts to pace, he starts to chew on things, he starts to be destructive, that's isolation distress. So believe it or not, a lot of dogs actually have isolation distress. They become super anxious, they become destructive when they're left alone because they were never taught how to be alone. So it's very important to teach your dog to be on their own, and it's totally fine and it's normal, and I can give you some tips and tricks to work on that. But don't just jump right to saying he has separation anxiety, because he may not. He most likely has isolation distress. So that's the brief, quick overview of the two different things your dogs could be experiencing. If you are experiencing either separation anxiety or isolation distress, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help you. And like I said, if I can't help you completely, I know some people that can, and we will get your dog back to being the loving, less destructive creature you always wanted. Have a great day, guys.